Next one up, coming to you from Romania and England, we have AppFactor. Presenting for AppFactor's Gabriel Chuluca and Keith Nielsen. Give them a round of applause and bring them on out.
Modernization is just the beginning when you see your entire IT landscape laid out like a sci-fi movie.
Today, the typical enterprise is wrestling with a multitude of applications in dire need of modernization. They're getting quotes from system integrators and partners to help, but the costs are tremendously high and the timelines are extremely long. Applications are often overlooked. Now, the greatest problem is that there's never just one application. The portfolio often contains multiple applications, dozens, hundreds, we've even seen thousands of applications. And for that reason, it poses a real challenge in terms of the scalability and the costs to actually maintain these systems. Now, across these portfolios, we have 4 pillars that support our applications. We have infrastructure, architecture, code, and dependencies. Over time, these pillars start to crumble as technical debt starts to accumulate. This means systems become susceptible to performance degradation, scalability issues, becomes a maintainability nightmare, and this truly is a ticking time bomb. The reason is that the new exponential speed of technologies coming to us as emerging technologies makes it impossible to keep up and to apply these to our existing systems. What's more is that technical debt actually compounds over time. It becomes more complex the longer we leave it, more costly to not just maintain, but actually to cut and deal with. Gartner research suggests that 40% of budget across all sectors is actually spent just maintaining that legacy. That does not include cutting and moving forward with our application portfolios. So this really is a never-ending pitfall problem. The size of this problem is also immense. $250 billion per year is spent maintaining legacy systems. And that's projected to reach $515 billion by 2027. So how do we help enterprises get ahead of this legacy continuum? Well, AppFactor is a continuous modernization platform. It's a productized solution to help identify, cut, and maintain technical debt. And this solution is really allowing customers to automate and simplify and create a repeatable, predictable process in how they transform existing software and technical debt. Our team has worked for many years with Amazon, Microsoft, and Google. We've witnessed firsthand through hundreds of migration and modernization initiatives, and we've witnessed the tremendous pain and challenge that enterprises across every sector actually face in tackling technical debt. Our customers today are realizing significant modernization velocity. That's what's needed to get through the sheer scale of this challenge. Through this, we're actually freeing up that 40% that's wasted maintaining legacy, that's simply eroded over time through technical debt. And through that, as you can see, we're also providing a solution that significantly cuts that technical debt and makes it easier moving forward. This really is not just a project, it's a routine. So let's show you how we do that. Let's move to demo. So our product is designed to really accelerate the process and simplify the entire end-to-end journey, from discovery and identifying technical debt through cutting it and re-architecting our applications and deploying it and maintaining it and making that a continuous journey through the life cycle of our applications. What we'll show you here is how AppFactor has, for the sake of time, already performed a scan against an environment. It's built a system of record and an inventory of all of the infrastructure, applications, and their dependencies, and the relationships between all of those artifacts throughout the whole environment. And as you can see, if we jump down into a server here, the platform has already identified a running application, a candidate application, without any manual process or analysis. If we jump into this right now, we can see this application is actually running on an end-of-life operating system. So this is a serious threat for the enterprise, not just commercially with out-of-support costs, but actually from a security perspective. Right here, we have a .NET application that's running on a server, and we'll show you how simple AppFactor is in terms of automation. If we select this application, it produces a wizard for us to start the automation of modernization. What we're actually doing here is, as we work through this, this particular window, the product, what it does is it captures the application dependencies, It generates a Docker file which contains all of the artifacts and dependencies of the application. It builds that into a containerized image in this example, and it allows you to seamlessly deploy that as a native application running in this example, Amazon Fargate. So what it's doing is cutting out all of the manual processes around app discovery, trying to understand and analyze, is this indeed a candidate for us to modernize? And what do we need to do for that application? And it allows us to build cloud-native representations of these artifacts and dependencies, and as I say, generate all of the deployment specification. There is no code. There is no YAML configuration. There is no configuration of all of the manual, tedious tasks that architects are bewildered with. And we're able to deploy this natively to the cloud in this example. So as a web application, that's now running natively in Fargate without any change to code or manual consultancy. That typically can take months, weeks, and even years. So let's move back to presentation. AppFactor, as I mentioned before, is a product, not a service. It's designed for daily use for architects and engineers to empower them to transform applications as part of their BAU, their standard business day. It's built on top of machine learning classifications that help our users identify, contextualize, and optimize application architecture. Linux, Windows Server, Java, .NET applications, the whole market is full of legacy applications riddled with technical debt. And our solution is really designed to help automate the process of transforming these existing applications. Our route to market is one that we see work very closely with the cloud providers.
You got to wrap it up.
Yeah, sure. We fit into programs that they have that allow us to accelerate cloud revenue spend for the cloud providers, obviously support the outcomes that customers are looking to achieve, and therefore drive the adoption of AppFactor through those motions. In terms of differentiation...
We got to leave it there. I'm so sorry.
Sure.
Out of time. Thank you so much. Give them a round of applause.
Thanks.
It's so hard, that 6-minute break. It's hard.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay. Sam, let's go to you.
Thank you. Really great job. I have the same problem. I like to talk a lot, and so I go over on presentations as well, but that was really excellent. Curious, which segment of the market are you going after from a customer acquisition standpoint, and how much traction do you have with acquiring customers?
Indeed, yeah. Well, look, the problem's agnostic, right? It's actually sector agnostic, truly. But for us, with the size of the company and how long we've been going, it's really about being quite specific and focused in terms of where we get these traction points. And with that, we can obviously build out repeatability and scale out. Now, relationships with Microsoft and Amazon clearly help with that. Where we have initial traction is with UK central government, which is really credible for us. We've got traction in the US with a financial organization and a manufacturing organization. And we've started early conversations with a big telecom company in Europe. Really what we're focused on is more around the technical challenge and finding repeatability in the applications and the challenges around these apps that we can find. Not so much sector, more around the problem and the challenge that these applications face. And with that, we can start building out wider support channels.
Great. Rebecca?
Thanks again for presenting today. Definitely empathize with the scale of this problem. How do you think about the value prop as more upstream in the discovery and diagnostic of technical debt versus the actual resolution of technical debt? And where are customers today getting value?
Indeed. I mean, look, this is the reason why we initially built out the discovery side, because one of the very first challenge that engineers and architects have is, what am I looking at, right? Like applications that could be quite old, there's no documentation. There's a challenge trying to unravel the sheer complexity of how an application evolves and changes over time. So discovery is incredibly enabling, but really the value and the opportunity for us with the system that we're building out and the capabilities of that is really making a difference to optimize the actual process, right? This is where the pain and the time is wasted, and there's complexity in that. And we believe that we can really accelerate the most challenging part of that through automation and machine learning classifications to really optimize that process for them. And with that, everyone wins.
Great. Danielle?
What are the parameters of the AppFactor solution with respect to types of application? What types of application can you look at today and go through the entire end-to-end solution with?
So it's x86 architecture. So it's Linux and Windows Server workloads. So it's incredibly broad. Right now, that's kind of where we've started off. So if you think of some runtimes that we support, .NET, Java, application servers like Tomcat and JBoss, That's fundamentally where we're starting out because there's just a significant market for that and a huge challenge. And these are supported frameworks that are provided by Amazon, Microsoft, and Google, and this is what we typically see in the market. So that's kind of where we're starting.
All right.
I would love to learn more about your backgrounds and what drew you to this problem.
Sure, yeah, great question. I'll take that initially, and then Gabby, you can go.
Yeah.
So, we've been in this space for a long time. We've worked with a number of different areas of tech. Fundamentally, we had an experience as a team before where we really drove a successful go-to-market to an exit to Amazon in this market. And that paved the way for understanding gaps. We've worked with the go-to-market teams at Amazon and Microsoft for the last 7 years. So we have a great feel in terms of what the challenges they face as organizations and their customers and the partners. And so the whole solution has fundamentally been built on that knowledge. And that's where our passion lies. So I don't know if you want to quickly cover.
Yeah, so basically the engineering team has spent the last 5 years doing only discovery, focusing only on optimizing discovery for a different product. But now we build discovery in a different way, total different way, because we identify issues with the first approach. So we could start with something that could do discovery in matters of seconds instead of minutes like before. The entire team, like I said, we worked together for 5 years only in this space, but with some of the guys I already worked for more than 10 years doing, in general, backend development and architecture.
Rick, do you want the last one?
Yes, a quick question on the customer feedback. So you have a great user base already of people who are using the product. Is there any area where you want to double down on and some areas where you're like, doesn't make sense? And how will your product evolve over time?
Yeah, indeed. I think that's a really good question. For us, there's 3 modules of the product. Discovery and assess, modernize as a re-architecting capability, and then deploy and maintain. That last module, we haven't quite got there yet in ways. We can deploy and provision, but really for us, that's where the whole intrinsic value of our proposition makes sense. And it becomes, like I say, very much a daily tool to optimize architecturally. This isn't just virtual machine cost optimization. We're talking about leveraging automation to optimize architecturally, and that's incredibly powerful. And so we really believe that that has so much scope because reality as legacy is a continuum. It never ends. This really isn't a project. It should be a routine, and it isn't today. And we believe a productized solution really empowers us to do that. So that's the vision.
That makes sense. Thank you.
That's a powerful way to stop. So thank you so much. Give them a round of applause.
Yeah. Thank you.